When it comes to the compounds which are highly potent and which are involved in very prolific reactions, very prolific responses in our body, perhaps no other lipid compounds can be can compete with eicosanoids. Eicosanoids are 20 carbon atom compounds which are very heterogeneous. Not only they are very heterogeneous, but they are also found in almost all the body parts. There are different types of these compounds which are present in different tissues. There are three major types of eicosanoids: the prostaglandins, the thromboxans, and the leukotrienes. What keep them in one group is basically that as the name shows, the eicosanoids, 20, because they are made up of compounds whose size is 20 carbon. Also, one other common thing in this compound is that their precursor is arachidonic acid. This arachidonic acid goes under different modification, different reaction, which leads to the formation of these compounds. It's unfortunate that these compounds have not got as much repute as other lipid compounds like phospholipids, like cholesterol, or like fatty like glycerides, diacylglycerol, and so on and so forth. But let me show you, in terms of the heterogeneity they have, and in terms of the responses, the variety of responses they carry out, they are really very interesting compounds to learn. So there are three major types of eicosanoids: prostaglandins, thromboxans, and leukotrienes. They are derived from omega-6 polyunsaturated fatty acids. Their precursor mainly is the arachidonic acid. They are composed of, as I have already told you, 20 carbon compound, which is composed of 20 carbon atoms. They are very potent, and because of this potency, they are involved in many inflammatory responses. As I've told you, they are involved in inflammatory responses, which are also known as physiological responses. Then they are also involved in many pathological responses. They ensure that the gastric and the renal functions are done to meet the needs of the body. Gastric integrity means that the functions which are performed by our gastric system, they are maintained, and similarly renal function is the function which involves the excretion of the material through urine. They regulate the smooth muscle contractions. For example, of the intestinal uterus, the contraction of these structures is very important. They control the homeostasis of the platelets. Of course, platelets do very important function. One of the most important is the aggregation of the proteins to make the blood clots. These molecules, the prostaglandins and thromboxans, they leads to, or they help in this function of the platelets. Also, there is sometimes confusion in people's mind where they change or they use hormones and the eicosanoids in the same breath. They consider them the same. Yes, they are small molecules. Yes, they involved in many inflammatory and signaling responses, but at the same time there are some sharp differences also. कुछ फर्क भी हैं इनमें जो कि हमें मलहूज़ खातिर रखने चाहिए. First of all, eicosanoids, their action is local, while the hormone, for example, in the case of endocrine glands, they can act from very distantly. I mean, from the production of their place, their action can be in distant places also. Second, hormones usually are long lived, while the prostaglandins and thromboxins and leukotrienes, their action is short lived. Once they are produced, they are immediately degraded. Their products are degraded once they have performed their function. Because why they have to be degraded? Because they're much more potent than the what we say the hormones. So as a result of this, if they remain in the body for a longer period of time, it will lead to hyperactivation, which will be harmful for the body. Also, they are also involved in cellular signaling, and one of the main way of their action or their involvement in the cellular signaling is through their action on the GPCR, G protein linked receptors, and of course these G protein linked receptors, which then work through the action of the cyclic AMP. This whole pathway is very well regulated and also activated by these eicosanoid molecules.